of the Tribune School, Editor-in-Chief of the Tribune, teachers and parents of the students here, and the students themselves. I am very happy to be here today to witness this science fiesta that we have organized. Initially, I didn't want to come because I wasn't feeling too well, but then your principal is very persuasive, so I have come. Now, having come, I will say one or two things. The first one is, I applaud this effort at having a science fiesta. But we have to go beyond these occasions and celebrations. Teaching and learning are both very difficult things. Both have to change their methods. I find very little change from my times as a school student to present, because we've all learned to learn by rote, to mug up things, reproduce them in exams, and get good marks. Same thing happened in competitive exams also. And same thing happened when you entered service. Your superiors did not encourage original thinking. They wanted you to follow their footsteps. That is all right for the rules. But you have to be innovative and do something new to improve things. I remember a quotation from someone, I don't know who, that the purpose of education is to make children think for themselves and not to learn to reproduce things. See, that is a given. The collective knowledge of humankind is reproduced in our books and in our teaching. But if our children learn to think for themselves and do something on their own, that is what is most important. I remember a friend of mine, ages back, who went to Oxford University. There they have to write these dissertations constantly, which are part of their assessment. The first one he wrote, by his own standards, it was an excellent one. He put in half a dozen quotations from various people. And when it came back, it was all marked in red. And the professor had written, I find everybody else, but where is Mr. Singh? They used to call everybody Singh. But he wanted to know what is your original contribution in this paper. These quotations are fine. That is what is important, and that is the difference between their education system and our education system. They encourage children, they encourage universities, students to think for themselves and come up with new ideas. That is how research goes on. If you stick to old rules and old regulations, nothing new happens. That is why 80% of the Nobel Prizes for physics, maths, chemistry, these subjects go to the United States and go to the professors and students of those universities. Even the army, the huge money that they've got, 70 to 75% of that budget goes to funding universities for research for their particular purposes. And the rest, of course, the universities are very, very heavily funded, though they've been in trouble since Trump came the second time. He's been trying to kill the universities by killing their innovative spirit. That will not happen. So in brief, if India has to go ahead, we have to open our minds to all the winds that blow, the north, the south, the east, the west. our past was great, but then it is not a must that we be bound by our past. Our past can inspire us to do things, but we have to look at the present and look ahead. Research can be carried out in our schools and in our universities if we encourage the idea of thinking for yourself. If research is not encouraged, we will be stuck in the same route. And as of today, everybody wants a government job. Why? Because it takes 1 or 2 exams and then you get the job, and there is nothing after that. So without taking too much of your time, I would request the parents present here and the principal and the teachers and the students themselves that you pay attention to this part, that don't let children fall a prey to this idea of learning by rote, and don't mark them only on this. Give some space to their original thinking also. I end by telling you, when I was in my MA final, there was a teacher at Punjab University. He was a good teacher, but he used to teach from notes which he probably had from Government College Lahore. And if you asked a question, he would close. Those who knew the procedure, of course, didn't ask questions. If somebody did ask a question, he closed the notebook, walk out of the room saying that you have broken the chain of my thought. So let us break these chains of thought and start thinking. India is a great country, it can be made much greater. If you or the children learn to, and you the educationists, learn to think for yourselves. Research has been carried out by 17, 18-year-old boys. Some of the biggest multinationals in America have been done by children who dropped out from Stanford University and worked in garages at their homes and produced the most marvelous things. Einstein was a dropout. Of course, there are others who went through the regular thing. But they thought for themselves, and in those thoughts, they built new things. And today, so much is happening on these frontiers. And our editor-in-chief is present here. I request her also to do something special in this field and bring out the differences between our educational system and maybe not the differences, but in which direction we should go from here. I know our general manager goes around collecting teachers, but that purpose is different. That whole objective is different. But the editor-in-chief can help in this. She's a very well-read person in her own right, well-experienced, and I would request her to devote some time so that the Tribune leads in this field also. Look at the area of coverage and see how things are and where things can be taken. With these words, I thank the principal for giving me this opportunity to come here and meet the children and the teachers. I hope you continue this not on an annual basis, it should be on a daily basis. Let your laboratories speak for themselves and let the work done in the laboratories. We'll publish it if something goes wrong.
Models have been selected.
Yes. So, thank you very much.